right, 5:20. I hope everything is going well for you guys. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes and introduce you into week 2. As you know, you can find everything on the week 2 section, but really I'm going to talk about most of it based off of this announcement. So I'm going to pop over here. One thing, we're in the middle of October, the longest stretch in the school year without a break. And so I just wanted to really highlight this one part of Deuteronomy 31:8. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, right? We can get very, very discouraged in this long stretch. So just know that there's always a light at that end of the tunnel, and just, take every day, day by day. So going into week 2, starting off with one of my favorite quotes: if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. This quote's from Back to the Future. It's Marty McFly. And I'm sure that's been said in other things, but this is where I pulled this one out of. And it really does impress me, the perseverance of humans. We can handle more than we ever thought we could. And really the idea of starting is much harder than the idea of doing. So hopefully that's a little bit of encouragement for you. Last week was great. The posts were great. It was great getting to learn more about you guys and just about your general thoughts coming into this class. I got to reach out, and I didn't call everyone. I texted, and sometimes I think it's just easier to connect through that way, because calling, we end up playing phone tag so much. And the only thing I would say is, be aware of posting. I know it says that they're not due till Thursday, but really getting them in early Tuesday or even Wednesday gives everyone more time to interact on that discussion board. So this week we look at historical and psychological foundations of curriculum. We look at curriculum assessment. We look at curriculum in the 21st century, specifically in America. Later on in the course, we look at some other countries and do some contrast and compare, which was really fun. So chapter 3 and 4, I know I mentioned multiple times the book is pretty dense and heavy. This is no different. It's about 60 pages or so. And so, we get into the history and the start of curriculum, as far as like where the colonial model came from, based off Prussia. And we, get into cognitive versus behaviorism versus Montessori. And, there is a lot of, it's just packed full of stuff. And so chapter 3 is more history, and chapter 4 is more like philosophy and different models. And so a lot of your assignments and your posts are based off of the information. So I know it's a lot, 60 or so pages to try to push through on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But the earlier you get that reading done, the quicker you can get started on not only the discussion board, but your assignment for this week. And so, if you can get some time in the next day or two to really push through those chapters, there is a lot of interesting information in there, though, for sure. Your discussion board, like I mentioned, is based off of the reading. You pick a topic or an area of focus from one of the chapters, and then you find a scholarly article that's recent, within the last 5 years or so. You do a brief lit analysis, some takeaways, implications, anything that you just pull out of that you think is an aha or golden nugget, or something that was surprising. And then make sure, in-text citations, it's all APA. And lit analysis isn't just nothing but quotes, right? It still has your voice and your style into it. So make sure you're putting that in there. And so from there, we roll into your next assignment. It is a graphic organizer. And so it tells you what to do. You can read this, because I'm going to actually just open the graphic organizer and walk through it more. And essentially you're filling in boxes. So let me close this tab. And so it says create a Word doc file, and then you fill it out. Well, if you're using Word, feel free to do that. But if you're using Google, instead of just downloading right here, what you would do is you pop over to make a copy, and you're going to navigate to where you want on your drive, and you're just going to make a copy, and that becomes yours. And so after you make a copy, then you would start filling this out. And so, hey, the colonial period, what was something, a quote or something from the text, and then implications and thoughts you have. And you just go through, this is chapter 3, this is chapter 4, and it picks some of the bigger topics. There's way more topics than that in there, but this picks some of the bigger ones. When you're done, if you're doing it in Word, you can upload that right to the submit box. If you're using Google Docs, you can either download that as a PDF or as a Word doc and then upload that. So if you have questions, shoot me an email or a text and I can walk you through that for sure. Looking ahead, only one chapter in week 3, chapter 5. But a couple of the assignments, I'll do the library first. I have not received a date yet for that. As soon as I get a date, I'll shoot it out to everyone so you have it. But really what it is once you actually attend, it's a specific date and time. You have to connect online through a Connect. I think it's Blackboard Connect that they use, or Adobe Connect. And then you have a little bit of work you have to do around that and find a scholarly article, and you have to do a couple screenshots, short paper, writing template. It's not hard. It's not real hard. The hardest part is really just being on the Adobe Connect at the right time. So once again, as soon as I get that, I will shoot that out to you, and that's due week 5. But due week 3 is your first group collaboration. Groups are set up. If there's any issues with the groups, let me know. One student I did have to move because we had a student drop and I needed to balance groups. But they're set now, and you guys should be good in reaching out to each other. And so essentially you're doing a slide on character or moral education, student activity. I want you to make these slides like you're actually presenting them. And so it walks through, a title slide, what's the obstacle, 3 slides for definition, explanations, visuals, what's an activity, proactive steps. So you guys can read through all this. It's pretty self-explanatory. But the one thing I would say is when you're doing a presentation, one, don't fill up the slide with 12-point font and it's just paragraph after paragraph, right? I want you to build these slides like you're actually presenting them. So what you're actually saying, put in the notes section. Google Slides is great because in the notes section you can actually format, use bullet points, use bold, use underline, highlight, all that kind of good stuff. So slides should really look like slides you're going to present. 3 or 4 points on a slide max, bigger font. You don't want tiny font because it's hard to read if you're presenting it. Videos, images, all that kind of good stuff. You can actually put any citation for that slide in the notes as well. Even though I know that, there is, at the end of it, they say, put all of them on one slide, which you should still do. But it's actually helpful for me or anyone that was seeing this, that they know that citation is for that specific slide. So look through that as a group, connect with your group. If you have any questions, reach out. So that is kind of looking forward. And then really, once again, just let me know if there are any issues that are going on. I want to make sure you guys have a great week, but I also want to make sure you have everything you need to be successful in this class. So that is week 2. Just a quick note on grading. I try to do grading within a few days. So your philosophy papers, those grades should be back to you Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. I try to do the assignment before I do the discussion posts. If they're longer papers, it might take me a week. Group work, I get back pretty quick as well. Just like you guys are at sites. I'm at a site as well, managing students and staff. And so, but I try to honor your time and get that back to you. If you ever have questions about grading, just know I'm pretty literal with the rubrics. If the assignment has a rubric, I base my grading specifically off that. So anyway, that is week 2 in a nutshell. If you guys, once again, have any issues, please reach out. Have a great Sunday evening. Have a great week at your sites. Really be a light. It's a tough time for teachers and for students, but you could be part of that change. So have a great weekend.